A steel fork was serving food at a tournament when 20 players collapsed simultaneously. Food poisoning. The catering company disappeared. $300,000 prize pool. No one could compete. A space heater was running in a packed LAN café when the circuit overloaded. 50 computers, one outlet strip. The building caught fire. Everyone got out. But all the tournament data was lost forever. A ceramic mug held energy drinks during the longest match in esports history. 14 hours. Both teams refusing to forfeit, players passing out in their chairs, medics on standby, and nobody could legally stop it. These objects witnessed competitive gaming at its most chaotic. Subscribe to Spoony and Friends because these tournament confessions are absolutely insane. Comment now. What's the craziest thing you've seen at a LAN event? Let's share the chaos. Here we go.
Spike here. Steel fork, 4 prongs. And I need to tell you about the tournament that ended before it began. Not because of bad plays, because of bad chicken. August 2023. Major fighting game tournament. 3-day event. 500 players from around the world. $300,000 prize pool. This was the Super Bowl of the FGC. Everyone who mattered was there. I was part of the catering setup. The venue had contracted a local catering company to provide meals for players, staff, and VIPs. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. All included in the venue package. Professional operation. Or so everyone thought. Day 1, Friday. Tournament started strong. Pools running smoothly. Hype matches. Crowd energy was incredible. Lunch service at noon. Buffet style. Chicken, rice, vegetables. Standard convention food. I was one of the serving utensils. Watched hundreds of players go through the line. Everyone eating, no complaints. 6 hours later. 6 p.m., quarterfinal starting. Suddenly, players started looking sick. One ran to the bathroom mid-match, then another, then 5 more. Within 30 minutes, 20 players were violently ill. Vomiting. Severe stomach cramps. Couldn't stand. The venue called paramedics. Multiple ambulances arrived. Players were taken to hospitals. But here's the problem. The tournament had to continue. Brackets were set. Matches scheduled. Tens of thousands watching the stream. Sponsors paid for broadcast time. But players kept dropping. By 8 p.m., 40 players were confirmed sick. All ate the chicken at lunch. Classic food poisoning symptoms. Salmonella suspected. The tournament organizers tried to continue with substitute players. But most of the top seeds were affected. The bracket was destroyed. Day 2, Saturday. Tournament organizers made the call. Full reset. Refund all badges. Prize pool would be distributed differently. The event was over. But they wanted to find the catering company. Hold them responsible. The company had vanished. Phone disconnected. Office address was fake. Business license expired. They'd been operating illegally for months. Taking catering contracts, showing up with undercooked food, then disappearing before anyone got sick enough to sue. Turns out this company had done this before. 3 other events in 2 years. Same pattern. Undercook chicken to save time. Serve hundreds of people. Leave before the incubation period. By the time people get sick, they're gone. The tournament venue lost $2 million. Refunds. Medical bills. Legal fees. Reputation damage. Players lost their shot at $300,000. Some had trained for a year. Traveled internationally. This was their moment. All ruined by undercooked chicken served with me. I was just a fork, but I was part of the service that poisoned 40 competitive gamers and killed the biggest tournament of the year. The FGC community tried to organize a makeup event, but the momentum was gone. Sponsors pulled out. Players couldn't afford to travel again. Some of those 40 players never competed again. Not because they didn't want to, because they developed severe food anxiety. PTSD from that tournament, couldn't eat at events, couldn't trust venue food. Their careers ended with a forkful of contaminated chicken. The catering company, never found. Probably operating under a new name now. Doing the same thing. Poisoning events. Disappearing. And somewhere there's another fork like me. Serving food that's going to ruin someone's tournament, their career, their dream. Some competitions end with a dramatic final match. This one ended with ambulances and a health inspector shutting down the venue, and I was there, serving every plate, complicit in the disaster, even though I'm just metal and no intent. Esports talks about competitive integrity, fair play. But what about food safety? What about vetting contractors? What about protecting players from literal poisoning? Nobody talks about that. Until 40 people are in the hospital and a $300,000 tournament is canceled. I'm just a fork. But I learned that day, the biggest threat at a tournament isn't the competition. It's the buffet table.
Skorky here, Space Heater, and I need to tell you about the night I almost killed 50 gamers in a LAN cafe almost, because they got out in time. Barely. This was 2018. Before big esports arenas, back when LANs happened in cafes, small venues, packed rooms, 50 computers crammed into a space meant for 20. This was a Counter-Strike tournament. Local scene winner gets $5,000 and a slot in regionals. Serious for the players involved. I was brought in by the cafe owner. Winter night heating system was broken, but the tournament couldn't be postponed. So the owner grabbed me from storage, put me in the corner, plugged me into the same power strip running 10 gaming PCs. That power strip was already overloaded. 10 high-performance computers, RGB lighting, monitors, cooling fans, all running at max capacity. The strip was warm to the touch. Anyone paying attention would have unplugged something. But this was a tournament. Nobody was paying attention to electrical safety. I started heating. 1,500 watts. Added to the already overloaded circuit, the power strip got hotter. Cables started smelling like burning plastic, but the tournament was intense. Finals match, everyone watching screens, nobody noticed. Hour 3 of the tournament, 11 p.m. I'd been running for 3 hours straight. The power strip was smoking, literally smoking. And then it sparked, small at first, just a pop. But that spark hit the carpet, the cheap synthetic carpet that every LAN cafe has because it's easier to clean. The carpet caught small flame, then bigger. Within seconds, there was real fire spreading from the power strip toward the computer stations. Someone finally noticed, screamed fire. 50 gamers jumped up, chaos, everyone running for the exit. But here's the problem. The cafe only had one exit. Fire code violation. Should have had 2. But the owner never got inspected. So 50 people trying to squeeze through one door, panic, shoving, screaming, they got out. All 50. Some with minor burns, some with smoke inhalation. But everyone survived. The building didn't. By the time firefighters arrived, the entire cafe was engulfed. 50 gaming PCs, tournament server, all prize money in the office safe, everything destroyed. The investigation found multiple code violations. 1 exit, overloaded circuits, no fire extinguisher, no sprinkler system, no smoke detectors. The cafe had been operating illegally for 2 years. The owner got fined, lost the business, faced criminal charges for endangering lives. But here's what haunted me. I was the spark. Literally, my 1,500 watts pushed the circuit over the edge. If the owner hadn't plugged me in, that fire doesn't happen. If I'd had an automatic shutoff, the overload gets detected. If someone had noticed the smoking power strip before I sparked, everyone's safe. But none of that happened, because tournaments create tunnel vision. Everyone focused on the game, on the competition, on the prize. Nobody watching for danger. Until the danger becomes unavoidable. 3 players suffered permanent lung damage from smoke inhalation. Nothing life-threatening, but enough to affect their stamina. Can't compete in marathon tournaments anymore. can't handle the stress. Their careers ended not from losing, from breathing smoke because a space heater overloaded a circuit. The local esports scene died that night too. No other venue wanted to host after seeing what happened. Insurance wouldn't cover lands. Landlords wouldn't rent to gaming events. That $5,000 tournament was the last one in that city for 3 years. I'm just a space heater, but I was the catalyst for a fire that ended 50 gaming setups, 3 careers, and an entire local scene. Not because I'm dangerous by design, because I was used irresponsibly in an environment that prioritized the tournament over safety. How many LAN events are happening right now in code-violating spaces? How many overloaded power strips are warming up right now, getting closer to sparking? How many tournament organizers are ignoring safety because the show must go on? The owner told investigators, "I didn't think it was a big deal. It was just a space heater." How dangerous could it be? When combined with negligence, it's very dangerous. And the 50 people who ran through smoke to escape a burning building learned that lesson the hard way. Some tournaments end with a champion being crowned. This one ended with firefighters hosing down a building while gamers watched their setups burn. And I was the space heater that started it all.
Muggsy here, rusty blue ceramic mug. And I need to tell you about the most insane tournament match I've ever witnessed. Not because of the skill, because nobody could stop it. June 2022, Dota to Regional Qualifier. Online tournament. Winner advances to International Championship. Massive stakes. 2 teams, both incredibly skilled, both incredibly stubborn. I was the mug for one player. Let's call him Marcus. 26, professional Dota player. This qualifier was everything. His team had been grinding for this moment for 2 years. The match started at 2 p.m. Normal length for Dota, 45 minutes to an hour. This match, 14 hours. Yes, 14 hours. Both teams were so evenly matched that neither could close. Every push got defended. Every advantage got thrown. Back and forth. Hours passing. Marcus drinking energy drink after energy drink from me. 6.7.8. Lost count. Hour 4. Marcus's hands were shaking. But the match wasn't over. Couldn't forfeit. This was for internationals. Hour 7. Midnight. Marcus's teammates were taking turns micro-napping between team fights. 15-second power naps. Eyes closed. Wake up. Play. Sleep. Repeat. Hour 10. 3 a.m. Marcus vomited into a trash can. Off camera. Came back. Kept playing. Because stopping meant losing. And losing meant 2 years of work wasted. Hour 12. 5 a.m. One of the enemy team's players passed out. Literally unconscious. Fell out of his chair. His team paused, waited 10 minutes for him to wake up. He came back, kept playing, because tournament rules said you could sub a player, but they'd have 5 minutes penalty. Neither team wanted that. Hour 14, 7 a.m. The match finally ended. Marcus's team won, barely. The final team fight was sloppy. Both teams exhausted. Mistakes everywhere. But someone had to win eventually. Marcus stood up from his chair. Collapsed. Dehydration. Exhaustion. Caffeine overdose. Paramedics were called. He was taken to the hospital. Treated and released. But he couldn't play in the International Championship. His body was destroyed. Doctor's orders. No competitive gaming for 6 months minimum. His team had to use a substitute. Lost first round at internationals. All of that, the 14-hour match, the suffering, the victory meant nothing. Because Marcus couldn't recover in time. But here's the insane part. This was legal. Tournament rules had no maximum match length. No mandatory breaks. No health and safety protocols for extreme duration matches. Players could compete until they physically couldn't anymore. And that's exactly what happened. The tournament organizers got backlash. Why didn't you stop the match? They responded. Both teams wanted to continue. We had no rule allowing us to force a forfeit based on duration. After this match, new rules were implemented. Maximum for our matches. Mandatory 15-minute breaks every hour. Medical staff required on standby. Health monitoring for players. All because one match went 14 hours and sent 2 players to the hospital. I'm just a ceramic mug. But I'll hate energy drinks that fueled a man through 14 hours of competitive gaming that destroyed his body and ended his championship run. I watched him vomit and return. Watched him shake and push through. Watched him win and collapse. Competitive gaming glorifies endurance. Grind harder. Sleep when you're dead. Champions push through pain. But this match showed what happens when there are no limits. When winning matters more than health. When tournament rules don't protect players from themselves. Both teams were heroes for their entrance. Both teams were victims of a system that allowed this to happen. And I was there. Refilled every hour. Complicit in keeping someone awake and competing long past when their body was screaming to stop. Marcus recovered. Plays casually now. Never competed professionally again. His body can't handle the stress anymore. That 14-hour match ended his career. He won the battle, lost the war, and gained a permanent reminder that some victories cost more than they're worth. Some matches are remembered for incredible plays. This one's remembered for being the match that finally made esports implement player health rules. It shouldn't have taken someone collapsing to make that happen. But it did. And I was the mug that kept them awake long enough to make history. For all the wrong reasons.
3 objects, 3 tournaments, 3 disasters that exposed how broken competitive gaming events can be. Spike served contaminated food that poisoned 40 players and cancelled a $300,000 tournament. Skorky overloaded a circuit and started a fire that destroyed an entire LAN cafe and local scene. Muggsy fueled a 14-hour match that sent 2 players to the hospital and changed tournament rules forever. These aren't just crazy stories. These are warnings about food safety, about electrical codes, about player health, about what happens when winning matters more than well-being. When tournaments prioritize the show over the people competing. Hit that like button if these stories were insane. Share this with anyone planning a tournament or LAN event. Maybe it'll save someone from repeating these disasters. Subscribe to Spoony Friends because we're exposing the chaos behind competitive gaming. Here's my question for you. What's the craziest disaster you've witnessed at a tournament or LAN? Food poisoning, power outages, medical emergencies, equipment failures. Drop your stories in the comments. Let's document the chaos together. And if you're organizing events, learn from these mistakes. Hire real caterers. Check electrical capacity. Set match time limits. Protect your players. Tournament safety resources, event organizer guides, and emergency planning templates are all in the description. Because the best tournament disaster is the one that never happens. This has been Spoony and Friends. Stay safe at LANs. Check the exits. Don't trust the buffet. And remember, no tournament is worth your health. See you at the next event. Hopefully, one with working smoke detectors.